We talk a lot about welfare assessment for animals in groups, and it can be very difficult to understand individual responses to their care. But we can still do some basic behavioural measures of how individuals react to their environment to help us understand which individuals are coping, which individuals are surviving, and which individuals are thriving in their environment. So if you had to do a welfare assessment for this shoal of koi carp, and you were doing your welfare assessment during general husbandry, i.e. at feeding time, you could look at individual responses compared to the group overall as to how fish differ when they're coming over to feed. Given that lots of these koi have different markings and different colour patterns, you might be able to notice an individual who is slower or more reticent to come and feed, whose buoyancy in the water column is not as good, who isn't swimming as you would expect that species to swim, and then perhaps make a mental note, jot down a record or take a photograph with your mobile phone of that individual, so you could then consider coming back for a deeper dive welfare assessment. What a terrible pun that is when we're looking at a group of fish in water. A deeper dive welfare assessment, perhaps a veterinary intervention, or more routine and irregular observations. And that way you could then understand if that is normal for that individual fish. Perhaps there's been a change in personality, and personality is flexible over the course of an individual's lifetime. And perhaps just as this fish goes into the next stage of its life, so its individual personality has changed. But if there is something more sinister, something that's health related, that's impacting welfare, your understanding of the group behaviour and the individual's behaviour within the group, based on what you would expect to see, has allowed you to gather evidence for a more structured welfare assessment. So even in these large groups, we can still do routine behavioural assessment very quickly. We can take a snapshot of data and then we can repeat that based on our own observations of the animals during daily husbandry checks and our experience of managing that species and what would be considered normal. So ultimately, whilst this is not a structured welfare assessment, it is something that can lead to a more structured welfare assessment that can be validated, i.e. made relevant and repeatable for that species over time as we gather more information and as we further understand how they respond to the environment that we've created for them.
We can also consider how our animals respond to our presence. These fish are fed in this particular area of their enclosure as a routine basis. So when I have walked over to them, which individuals have responded positively to human presence and have come over first, and which individuals have stayed away. Again, repeated observation during daily husbandry checks and individual knowledge and experience of the fish and how they respond to their carers helps us provide information for any more specific welfare assessments, as well as how we can validate a welfare assessment for these fish moving forwards. And again, because we are dealing with a group of animals with different colour patterns, we can relatively easily pick out individuals to look for them at a later date. So we have responses to daily husbandry, e.g. feeding, and we have responses to human presence, and any differences in what we would expect as the norm feeds into a welfare assessment, a quick on-the-spot welfare check, which forms the basis of a deeper dive if needed.